Hi, Mrs. Hensley's friends. You just got finished listening to another story about Ruby Bridges, didn't you? And that story she actually wrote herself. So I thought that was pretty cool when I was listening to the story myself. But you are going to make a Ruby Bridges, but first you might want to be thinking in your head about something you learned about Ruby Bridges. It can be something you learned yesterday, or it could be something that you learned today. Something that you've learned, and that's called a fact because those are both nonfiction books. They are telling real facts about Ruby Bridges. So I want you to think of something that you would like to say about Ruby Bridges that you have learned, okay? So I will need you to have a pencil for sure. I will need you to have crayons. I will need you to have scissors. And I will need you to have this page from your new packet. It says place writing paper here. And this page that says Ruby Bridges at the top, name, and then her shoes. Okay? So what you are going to be doing is you are going to be writing, once again, a fact that you have learned about Ruby Bridges. Now, Mrs. Hensley is not going to write something that she learned about Ruby Bridges because I don't want you to steal my ideas. So I want to know what you learned about Ruby Bridges, okay? And I don't want you writing what Mrs. Hensley wrote, so I'm not going to write. But you will start with this page right here where it says Ruby Bridges. It already says Ruby Bridges, so you do not have to write her name. Okay, that is one thing you do not have to do. So what you will need to do is just say Ruby Bridges and then whatever you want to say that you learned about her. That Ruby, R is the beginning of your sentence. Okay, so you tell me Ruby Bridges, whatever you want to say that you learned about Ruby Bridges. Okay, so Ruby Bridges, blank, blank, blank. Okay, so you just tell me what you learned about Ruby Bridges, something that you've learned about Ruby Bridges, and you just have to write one sentence of one thing that you learned about her. Okay, so you'll write that. Remember, this is the skyline up here, and then you have the plain line, and you have the grass line, and in between the grass line and the skyline would be the worm line, okay? So I want you to carefully write on the lines correctly, okay? Do your very best. Give me your best handwriting, okay? I can't wait to see your best handwriting. And remember, when you're finished writing your fact about Ruby Bridges and you're finished with your sentence, you have a period at the end. You also have space, finger space between your words, okay? Between every word. Once you have finished writing, you will also put your name down here. Put a finger space and then write your name there very neatly. Once you have done all of that, then you may start coloring her shoes and you may start coloring Ruby Bridges here. Now, what color was Ruby Bridges? Ruby Bridges was brown, right? So with your brown crayon, not pink, Mrs. Hensley, brown, you are going to be coloring her face, okay? I'm not going to do all of it, but you'll be coloring all of her face, okay? You will be coloring her fingers here. She is holding a paper. So this is what her fingers look like. So her fingers are also brown. So you will be coloring her fingers here brown as well on both sides, okay? All of her fingers. On both of her hands, okay? Just like that. So these are brown. These are her fingers, brown and brown, okay? It's It's kind of hard for you guys to see. I colored so lightly, didn't I? Mrs. Hensley. And no scribble scrabble. Do your very best. That's a little bit darker. Okay, so you make her hair. What color was her hair? If you need to go back in the story and look at these things, you may do so. Her hair was black. Okay, so you will color her hair black. Her bow can be any color you want it to be. Her little collar here can be any color you want it to be. Oh, her neck. Mrs. Hensley forgot to show you her neck. Her neck needs to be brown as well, doesn't it, Mrs. Hensley's friends? Yes, it does. Okay, so her neck needs to be brown too. This is a collar. You can color her collar any color you want. This is part of her hair right here. Okay, part of her hair. And then there's little bows there. These are her ears, so her ears will need to be what color too? Brown. Brown ears. Okay, both of her ears, brown. Okay, bow any color you want, collar any color you want. Shoes any color you want, okay? So once you're finished with that, you're going to cut. Now remember, your scissors are always in the air. Oops, you're also going to need your glue stick. But your scissors are always facing the sky. So watch Mrs. Hensley as she cuts this out, okay? We're going to pretend like Mrs. Hensley's is all colored, even though it's not. Because I'm not going to sit here and color her and waste your time. Because that's exactly what that would be doing. And my recording only records for 15 minutes. And I know you guys don't want to hear Mrs. Hensley longer than that. So, I am cutting Ruby Bridges out. Oh, this up here is part of her hair too. Up above the bow on top. She's got pretty hair, doesn't she? Okay, and I am moving the paper to help me because my scissors are staying at the sky. And I'm cutting around this little rectangle here at the bottom. Okay, just like that. This is what it will look like when I'm all finished, okay? Well, not really, because it'll be all color. She'll be all colored, won't she? Okay, then you're going to take this paper after you've written on it and written your name, and you're going to cut it out. And after you've colored it, you're going to cut it out as well. Oh, this is part of her dress right here. So don't forget to color her dress and her socks, and that's a little bit of skin. Mrs. Hensley didn't see that earlier. And her skin is brown, remember. Okay, just like that. And these are her socks. So you can color her socks any color you want, and her shoes. And her dress, whatever color you want to color her dress, okay? Okay, so let me finish cutting this out to show you how we're going to put it together. Okay, all the way around. You're going to take your time. Mrs. Hensley's just hurrying to try to not waste more of your time, okay? Okay, all done. You will need a glue stick, and I'm not sure Mrs. Hensley has a glue stick right here. Oh, I do. Yay. Yay for Mrs. Hensley. Okay, so what you're going to do is on this piece right here, you're going to put some glue right here, okay? So Mrs. Hensley is just going to make a line of glue right there over that writing. Maybe a little bit more. This is actually supposed to be her dress too, so if you want to color that part, let me see. Now we're going to glue this on top. Okay, we're gluing that on top. Just like that. Okay, so you might want to color her dress right there, and I don't know if it's going to color very good right there now that I've put glue there, but let me show you where I'm talking about. Over that writing where it says, what did it say? Paste writing paper here. You might want to color this part before you glue. Mrs. Hensley made a mistake. Okay, so you just color it before, and then when you glue it on and there's a little bit left over, you'll see that it's colored, okay? Now, when you're finished with this, I want you to be holding her like this, okay? And have someone take your picture of you holding her, okay? Then I want you to, you might have to wait until it completely dries to do this part. But I want you to carefully fold it. And it's going to have to be careful. And like I said, you might want to wait until it dries so it doesn't mess it up. Or you can even put it in there like that and just leave it hanging out. But I want this in your fish folder or your check me out folder because I want to see these in person and have them in our classroom when we come back to school. Okay, so make sure you're coloring her brown. Make sure her hair is black. Bow, collar, dress, shoes, socks can all be whatever color you want them to be. Okay, and if you want them to look like they did in the video, in the book, you are welcome to do that because she's the one that wrote the book. She's the one that knows what she wore, right? Okay, so neat handwriting, nice and neat coloring, no scribble scrabble. Take a picture of you holding her, and you might have to take another picture of the handwriting so I can see it better to see what fact you wrote. Don't forget your spaces in between your words. You don't have to worry about an uppercase letter at the beginning of your sentence because Ruby, R is the beginning of your sentence. Spaces between your words, period at the end of your sentence, okay? Coloring neatly, gluing her together, taking a picture with her, maybe take a closer up picture of your handwriting if you want to put it on there so I can see what fact you wrote, and then fold it carefully. If you want to wait until it dries, that's fine. Put it in your fish folder or your check me out folder, okay? I hope you guys have fun with this. I have so enjoyed learning about Ruby Bridges, and I hope you guys have had fun learning about her too. Like I said yesterday, Mrs. Hensley didn't know about Ruby Bridges, and I didn't know that the first African-American student that went to a white school that was segregated into the white school, I didn't know she was still alive, and I didn't know that that wasn't a real long time ago. So I've learned some things too, guys. I've learned facts about Ruby Bridges that I didn't know before because I didn't even know who Ruby Bridges was. So I've had a lot of time learning about her as well. And like I said, I even watched a video of Mrs. Henry talking about Ruby Bridges. So that was fun too. But I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your Friday. And I hope you enjoyed doing this. And Mrs. Hensley will talk to you soon. Have an awesome weekend, friends. Bye-bye.